welcome to Investors Guide. This is the second part of our anniversary special programming. Now, given all of the questions we've received from you on investing in property and buying a home, we bring you a special episode on real estate. ET Now and this show have turned 4 years old this week, and to celebrate, we're going to pick 4 cities for the future. We'll also help you pick the right neighborhood, the right developer, and the right project. You can write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Send in any question you have about buying a home, about your home loan, or the property you've already bought. Now, helping us through this episode, we have 2 wonderful guests in the studio. Ravi Ahuja is the Executive Director at Cushman & Wakefield. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Ramesh Nair is the Managing Director West at James Long LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Now, we've asked both of our guests to pick 2 cities each that they believe will appreciate the most in the future. Interestingly enough, they both picked Pune. Now, before we talk about why Pune and why we're going to focus on it, let's take a look at how prices of homes in Pune have moved over the last 5 years. My colleague Avan is here with a ground report. Avan.
Residential prices in Pune saw a sharp increase due to the growth of IT in the city. Baner saw prices increasing from 3,482 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 5,977 rupees per square foot in 2013. That's a whopping increase of 71% in the last 5 years. Kalyani Nagar saw an increase in the prices of almost 4,000 rupees per square foot in the last 5 years. Talegaon saw prices increase from 1,940 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 2,853 rupees per square foot in 2013. Wagholi saw prices increase from 2,600 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 3,531 rupees per square foot in 2013, and is the most affordable out of the other areas in Pune.
All right, Avan, thank you so much for that information. Ravi, take us through why Pune is your favorite right now and which neighborhoods you see the most growth in.
You see, just as a background, why we did choose Pune has an overall approach towards the real estate segment. Resi and commercial or IT play is very obvious. But in addition, Pune also has a very large industrial base and educational base. So I think from an overall perspective, it's important to see how Pune fares and becomes a model for other cities. I think over the next 5 years, clearly, Pune is showing great growth in all of these segments which we choose, let's say IT, ITES for office, education, as well as industrial. And all of these have multiplier effects on, let's say, residential properties. Over the last year and a half or 2, we've seen Pune residential prices across the board grow by about 10 to 12%, and they're not stopping. I think the trend will continue for the next 5 years. Well, I can see probably next 2 to 3 years. 5 years is too long a call to take, but clearly another 10 to 12, 15% appreciation, even in this so-called tough economic environment, is here to project.
If I were to ask you to pick one neighborhood in Pune that you were the most bullish on for residential property, what would that be?
I think I would pick 2 if you allow me. One in the western corridor, beyond the Baner and Wakar belts, when you go towards the Gunjur area or the Sahara Stadium, that entire stretch is seeing a huge
doubled in the last 5 years. You expect it to go further?
Yeah, sure. With some good track record developers like Peninsula Land and India Bulls, as well as Lodha doing some good development there, yes. And the second, of course, is the eastern corridor belt of Kharadi and beyond Kharadi of Wagholi, actually, which will see a lot of prominent developments and prominent growth in the times to come.
Ramesh, you agree Pune is one of your favorites. Take us through which neighborhoods you expect to see the most growth in.
I agree with most of the points Ravi mentioned. We are seeing all-round growth happening in Pune. Now, when people are looking at Pune, what appeals to them about Pune? One, you have extremely good availability of talent. Cost of talent is not very high compared to cities like Bombay or Delhi or even Bangalore. There is extremely good quality real estate available in Pune. Biggest drawbacks before was there were not enough of malls, there were not enough of hotels. Those kind of problems have been fixed over the last few years. And residential prices still very, very realistic when compared to other cities. We haven't seen any major bull runs which has led to unaffordability. So these are some of the reasons why Pune is right on top of our list.
Okay, we have a couple of questions, in fact, from viewers who've written in about Pune. Kishore has written in. He works in Hyderabad, but he's from Pune. He's already bought a home in Pune some time ago. He's considering buying another home. And he tells us he obviously has two options. He could either buy a home in Hyderabad, which is where he lives right now, or he could buy a second home in Pune. He's considering giving the first one on rent. He's a little worried about the sluggish property market in Hyderabad, and he wants you to help him choose between Hyderabad and Pune. Which one would you recommend?
It again boils down on the use, and like you said, probably if it's a second home, the answer would be different than if it's a first home. So if he would look at a long-term job prospect continuing in a city like Hyderabad, I would recommend buying a property where you can feel it, you can see it, because you can take decisions of holding or selling it. And Hyderabad is quite affordable today if you're looking at actual use in Hyderabad, for sure. But from an investment perspective or from a 3 to 5 horizon perspective, today Hyderabad is seeing a lot of stress when it comes to political uncertainty, the Telangana issue, etc. And therefore Pune is an obvious choice to make for a second home, for example. I would clearly recommend in Pune the locations we discussed earlier, or even the NIBM road, or where the new infrastructure projects like the airport at Chakan or such locations will give far greater appreciation than Hyderabad.
All right, taking Pune a little more seriously than Hyderabad. So both of our guests agree that one of the cities for the future is Pune. It's right on top on both of their lists. Now, Ravi's second choice for a city that will grow exponentially in the future is Bangalore. Let's get a ground report on how rates of homes in Bangalore have moved over the last 5 years. Avan is here with this very quick update.
Prices of homes in Bangalore have seen the sharpest increase over the last 5 years. Due to its proximity to the airport, the prices of the residential property in Hebbal have increased by a 175% from 3,044 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 8,392 rupees per square foot in 2013. Maratha Lease saw increase in prices from 3,181 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 5,308 rupees per square foot in 2013. That's a price increase of almost 66% over the last 5 years. With Sarjapur Road witnessing a large number of new project launches over the last few years, the prices have increased from 3,660 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 4,652 rupees per square foot in 2013. And Whitefield, that saw prices increasing from 3,068 rupees per square foot in 2009 to 5,368 rupees per square foot in 2013.
All right, Avan, thank you so much for that update. Gentlemen, interesting things about Bangalore. Hebbal in particular moved up 175% in the last 5 years because of that new airport. But there's also been a lot of complaints about the fact that the city's infrastructure is rotting away, that it's not able to keep up with the kind of influx it's seen. Do you see that in any way standing in the way of Bangalore's future as a real estate market?
Yeah, I think overall, let alone Hebbal or let alone the corridor of North, which has grown so rapidly, and therefore it's coping up very difficultly when it comes to, let's say, with infrastructure. I think overall the Bangalore city needs to cope up with the so-called infrastructure. It's so most definitely needs or has been lacking for some time to come. We've seen pockets and we've seen them really prosper over time. We've seen them really fall over time. You take Whitefield, in the eastern corridor of Bangalore. Whitefield for a good number of 5 to 6 years, so huge commercial office supply and even residential supply lying vacant. Whitefield was a major bottleneck. While it had 3 accesses, but all 3 were considered to be bottlenecks: the ITPL road, the Marathali, and I think the Varthu road. But eventually now the government has planned the peripheral ring road, which will connect with Whitefield, which is a huge, infrastructure project. If it comes up, Whitefield is here to see some good long-term sustained growth in pricing as well as demand. And then of course the north, it's a no-brainer. It's a story in itself. The international airport made it happening. Hebbal is right there at the junction from ORR, very visible, very connected, and therefore we saw this 175% huge jump. When you talk about infrastructure, I think the coping up both by the government and some of the stakeholders, including I would say corporates, who are setting up these large offices, be it SEZs, or even closer to, let's say, Hebbal, let's say closer to Manyata, the outer ring road. all of those I think are huge projects, and if they do deliver on time and with the kind of social infrastructure amenities they talk about today, or even the Carley SEZ over there, which is having a huge entertainment zone, I think it will do great good for the city. Yeah.
Okay, Ramesh, we have a question from Nimesh who's written in. He bought property in Bangalore at a rate of 3,400 rupees a square foot off Sarjapur Road. He wants to know what the value appreciation will be in the next 5 to 7 years. Sarjapur Road, is that an area you're bullish on?
The two areas which we are most bullish on in Bangalore is the new airport road up to Hebbal, and the outer ring road from Hebbal to the Sarjapur, that stretch. We have seen capital appreciation of anywhere between 15 to 18% in the last 3 years. If you look at that's an area where we are seeing equal amount of both commercial and residential development happening. Sarjapur Road is already touched around 6,500. So the investor who's made an investment, I'm sure he's not complaining.
And of course, Nimesh does want to know what the checklist is for finding a builder and narrowing down on a builder when buying property. Would you give him a checklist?
4-5 things. One needs to check the track record of the developer in terms of how many projects he's completed, how many projects he's completed on time, the quality of projects he's completed. Make sure there are not any legal trouble he's got into. Look at his execution skills, what he has. Look at his licensing skills. Looking at his property management skills, looking at the brand, because in cities where there's too much of supply coming in, one needs to look at if that brand gets a premium. So these are some of the basic checklists one should look at while deciding on developers.
All right, it's time for us to take a very quick break. What we've learned in this segment so far, Pune and Bangalore, we have a checklist there on how we should be picking a particular neighborhood and how we should be picking a developer. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk about Hyderabad and, of course, any property show's favorite, Mumbai. Don't go anywhere.